Welcome back to Midday Live. Dr. Drew, Mike Catherwood, Talk Radio 790 KBC. Mike comes in at the top of the hour when we will speak to Mindy Finn about girls should they be allowed as a Boy Scout? Right now, though, we have Jasmine Canuck. She is social and political commentator. And Jasmine, congratulations. The LA City Council has dropped its case against you, yes?
No, not the city council.
The cops?
Yes, basically the city of LA, yes.
Okay.
I am no longer, I guess, part of the criminal justice system.
Hallelujah. For the moment, anyway. I know you. You'll be back soon. And so you're a recurrent offender. And so were there other people dismissed at the same time? I'm just curious.
No, my case was kind of unique because even though they had arrested 130 people last year around this time during the protest, I was the only one that was a journalist, and I was also the only one who they said resisted arrest and was the actual leader of the protest.
Ooh.
I was like, wow,
Ooh.
really?
Wow.
If you remember that, there were thousands of people running through downtown Los Angeles, and apparently I was the leader of them. That was very interesting.
Full respect. Way to go, Jasmine. Full respect. So,
I had no idea.
So I want to carry over something I was discussing before the news break, which was Donald Trump's tweets. I had a caller, Robert, called in, was upset that anyone would support someone who tweeted such I'm trying not to use too inflammatory a word, too generous. I'm trying not to use the racist word. I'm trying not to use, but
real hard.
But you know what I mean. Even if it's not racist, it's stuff that's inaccurate and stuff that is sort of characterizing an entire group superficially. What is your sense of those tweets?
Hasn't that been what his whole campaign has been about from day one? So, I mean, I saw the tweet. I mean, I'm not surprised it came from Trump at all. That's not something that I think as black people or even just as Americans we haven't heard of. People do believe that.
That what? What was it? I couldn't find the tweet. It was a retweet or something.
Basically, at the end of the day, he was trying to show in a graphic that more blacks kill blacks than anyone else. And he used all of these other erroneous numbers, you know, how many blacks kill whites, how many whites kill blacks, how many police kill whites, how many police kill blacks, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I understand that people are frustrated and upset by that, but that is not out of Trump's character. I mean, that's what makes him who he is, right?
Right.
He has done that on the issue of immigration. He's done that on the most recent issue looking at, you know, the refugees and what's going on overseas. So now he's decided to focus his attention on African Americans. The people who weren't voting for Trump aren't going to vote for him. The people who are voting for him, they like that kind of stuff. That's what moves them. Obviously, that's why they support the man.
Well, I've spoken to tons of black folk who are supporting him, too. Do you think they just overlook stuff like that, or they just...
Yes. Yes.
Well,
I know a lot of black people who are supporting Donald Trump, and let me tell you why, okay? Because sometimes we have these issues, right, that just move us, and we will overlook everything else, right? Because politics makes strange bedfellows, right? So you have a lot of disgruntled African-Americans who feel like they can't get any work in America. You know, jobs are being taken away from them. And so that issue of immigration, they are with Trump 110%. And so they will overlook just common sense and everything else. You know, they'll overlook the fact that on any other issue, Donald Trump would be against, let's say, the best interests of black people for that one issue of immigration. It's sad, but it is very true.
And then, I have to take a break here. When we get back, what I want to do is talk about these so-called white student union pages, and also how you feel about. Let me just start with this. I'm just interested in what your feeling is about students participating in the selection at University of Missouri of the school's next chancellor and president, I believe. I'm just interested in what you have to say about that. It's Midday Live. Dr. Drew, Mike Catherwood, talking to Jasmine Canuck. Talk Radio 790 KBC, 800-222-5222. And don't forget that $1,000 giveaway in the next hour. Back after this. It's Dr. Drew Midday Live, Talk Radio 790 KBC. Jasmine Canuck with us, social and political commentator. And Jasmine, what do you say about the students getting involved with the selection of a chancellor and a president?
Well, they certainly did have something to do with folks leaving the university, so why should they not have something to do with who comes in as president? I think that, you know, they have sort of set a precedent over there, and I think that the people in charge need to pay attention. I mean, at the end of the day, they are the reason why I can't remember the name of the person who resigned, left. Okay, so it would only make sense that they have something to say about the person who comes in.
But something to say is different than dictate, right? To be a part of a committee or something, fine. I think all students, of course, should be a part of any committee they put together. But they seem to want to dictate who they hire.
Did they not dictate who left the university? I mean, these are the things that happen in politically correct America in 2015.
Well, my thing, the reason I propose this as such is these students may or may not be the one paying for the salary. Who's you know what I'm saying? Is that the taxpayers, and I went to a private college where the alumni are going to flip out and just withdraw their support if they don't have also some ability to participate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's fair about just students dictating?
Well, look, none of this has ever really too much been about what's fair. I think the students have picked up on some momentum on campus. We saw what happened in terms of the football players. I haven't heard anything about what you're talking about in terms of like alumni and other people sort of pushing back on the other end. And it seems right now the students are running the show over there.
I think it's great that they be a part of, but for them to dictate, I wouldn't want. You want high school students dictating who they're hired as their administrators. You want college students. They don't have any experience to select. I mean, yes, they should have a voice for sure, but for them to dictate, that's bizarre. You know what I'm saying?
But that is where we're at right now in America. Okay?
You don't think that's a problem? I mean, what?
I think it's an issue. I don't want to say it's a problem. I think surely that should be a concern for many people. I don't think it's going to go down like that. I do not think the students are going to be the only people who have a say in who the next president is over there. But I do think that the students' concerns are going to be taken very seriously. I think that, like before when this first started, you remember it wasn't really until the football team.
But that was about. You could argue that was about money too. You know what I'm saying? That the football team is so much money to the university. But what if the other money sources, meaning the taxpayers and the parents and alumni, start withdrawing their support too? That's going to be more powerful than a football team, I suspect.
It could be, but we haven't seen that happen, and this has been going on for quite some time. So.
Well, I've heard the winds are blowing. I don't know how I think they haven't figured out how they're going to respond yet, other than just locking up their pocketbooks. So it may be a whole.
They're going to have a white student union respond.
Yeah,
right?
Tell me about that. What's that all about?
I don't know what that's all about, but I can't complain about it because again, this is politically correct USA in 2015. So we've had over 30 white unions pop up on Facebook and on various social media entities over the past week in response to what has been happening on campus with African American students.
What do they do? Is that are they just being polemical, or is there something they hope to achieve by doing this?
Well, from what I've read online, they are concerned about students of European descent on campus. So they are basically taking the same mission statement as, for example, say a black student union and changing the word African or black to European. I think that some of these are hoaxes, but I think on some of these campuses this is very serious. In terms of, can folks shut it down? I don't think so. I mean, if you allow every other student group or LGBT group or I can't go through the many lists of different groups that they would have.
And it depends where you are, but soon the European descent is going to be a minority. I mean, don't minorities have an opportunity to express themselves?
I imagine that they do. So, they'll just have these two groups on campus. I think it's really interesting because some people might argue that, you don't need white student unions on campus because for the most part, campuses have been geared towards white students all along, which is what you hear from a lot of these, let's say, minority student unions like the Black Student Union or the Latino student unions, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is definitely a political response, but I don't think it's one that anyone could force to shut down, anyone could force it to close or make folks stop participating in, because then you'd have to do that with everyone. And we're not going to do that in America today, because we welcome everybody and we allow everybody to have a group,
right,
no matter what.
Mike, you have any comment or question here? You hear what we're talking about here? No.
I think that you both are right in line with that. Look, this is the new America that we have to deal with, where everyone has to feel like they have their voice heard, or else someone's going to complain. But at the same time, I think that, Drew, you bring up a good point, that it also represents this kind of victim mentality of certainly younger Americans, that they feel like they need to be in control of everything, or someone's out to get them, you know?
All right, listen, I got to take. Oh yeah, I'm running out of time here, Jasmine. I got a long set of breaks here, so stay with me here. I mean, actually, don't stay with me. I'm going to let you go. We'll keep this conversation going. There's a lot I could talk about here, and no doubt you and I'll keep this conversation going. And I appreciate, as always, your insight and your willingness to toss this back and forth. Take care now.
Pleasure.
All right,
Thank
Jasmine
you.
Mechanic,
Bye.
Dr. Midday Live Talk Radio 790 KBC.